Jodio, Anyways, tis I. You already know who it is. You already know who it is. It's me. Anyways, tis me. It's Whistly. I'm here doing a bunch of reviews at my cell. Anyways, it's not actually a cell. I just call it that. I'm gonna be reviewing my first screenplay on my YouTube channel. Whoop 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 whoop. Anyways, I'm reviewing Troy by David Benioff, which was released in the year, let's see here. When was the movie Troy, written by Dave Benioff, released? I think it's 2004. Yes, sir, Bob, May 14th, 2004. Anyways, I love this screenplay so much. It's one of the best screenplays I've ever written. I think Juno is the best screenplay that's ever been written. I think the best technical screenplay that I've ever read is probably this, David Benioff by Troy by David Benioff. I think Casablanca is one of the funnest, just written dialogues ever. I think Whiplash, and then I think yeah, those are the main things. Main screenplays where I'm like, wow. But this is definitely the most technical screenplay I've ever written. I listened to this probably. I listened to the screenplay on Speechify. Shout out Speechify. Shout out Paris Hilton for have you and Gwyneth Paltrow for your AI voices. While I listen to hours and hours of the same screenplay plays. I have it here. I have my screenplays that I've written, and I have Poor Things right now. I have Troy, I have Casablanca, I have Juno, basically, and those are just in my main rotation. And then I have Nara Souls, The Elements of Music, and then a few books about exposure because I'm gearing up for my short film. But yeah, I love screenplays so much. I like listening to them. They just make me relax. They make me feel like I'm talking to another person or just in the mind of another person as they express their art. I think it's just really fun. I really, 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 really like screenplays. Anyways, I'm just here to review and nerd out about David Benioff's Troy. It was loosely based off the Homer's epic poem, The Iliad, which is super famous. Everyone knows Homer. Homer is also one of my favorite books, poems, whatever that ever existed, poems. But David Benioff is the co-writer of, I don't know, Game of Thrones, one of the top 3 most famous TV shows that ever exist. You know, they had a bad season, but he's just he's a wordsmith master, you know. And I feel I am also a wordsmith. But I feel like David Benioff just understands it. He started writing it. He finished writing it in January 2022. It was highly collaborative with director Wolfgang Peterson. Wolfgang Peterson also did a lot of stuff. He did movies like Air Force, Neverending Story. Mainly Neverending Story is my jam, basically. But I think he's a German director who just he's more about fun and more just about perspectives. And he has a focus on the backgrounds, which I'm a background guy where I'm I care about the screenplay, but also show me something that's magical and interesting, you know? Let that be my entertainment as I'm watching the movie. The plot, the story is all important. But look, cool sand tower, cool Troy, whatever, that. And the cinematography in Troy is amazing. But you can also just tell in the screenplay of how it's depicted by David Benioff to be so amazing. And I just like that. And the action sequences in the screenplay is excellent. The just understanding. David Benioff's from New York. He's 55. He spends time in Manhattan and LA, basically. I don't know. He's to me, I'm just gonna nerd out about this for 10 minutes, for the next 6 minutes, because YouTube, you have to be 10 minutes or whatever for whatever. But I enjoy this screenplay so much. I think it's just so technical. It's so technical, in its quality and its understanding, and I don't think it's a perfect screenplay. I think there's a lot of flaws with the screenplay. I think it misses a mark on a lot of areas. I think it's not fleshed out in some areas, and I understand that it was 180 pages or whatever like that, and he cut it down to 140. I have it here. on Speechify on my other phone, basically. But yeah. So yeah, it's I have it here. It's 159 is what it's saying on my PDF for the screenplay. But I think it's just sequences. The writing is just so interesting. It's just so like it's all about like dripping the sword is dripping blood and then the line where he says like when Brad Pitt's like, then you will never be remembered. I feel like he understands the flair, the spectacle that's supposed to be in the screenplay, and he delivers that. And he doesn't dilly-dally, you know? I think there is like parts in the third act where it's kind of just like meandering, and it doesn't really have that connectivity. And I feel like it falls short in a lot of areas where I would, and I don't want to rate screenplays or anything like that. I just feel like the screenplay could have definitely been better and more sharper, you know? But I feel like I still really enjoy it because, again, art is art, you know, because like sometimes you can cry over spilled milk or whatever like that, but it's not really productive. Like the movie is what it is, take it for what it is, learn from it and try to make a better art in the future, you know, but also just like we can't like whine and complain about everything that doesn't come out. It's like, how about we, you know, add more good constructive criticism to actually create something that is actually better. But anyways, as I go on, it's just like he just knew. Like, and that's especially me as a aspiring screenwriter myself. Just I really studied a lot of the best works of all the top screenwriters, and like nowadays the best screenwriter is the best director. So Quentin Tarantino, who I guess he's retired now, Christopher Nolan, James Cameron, Stanley Kubrick. I didn't know David Kittrock can do any writing. Greta Gerwig, Caroline Forge. I don't know if she wrote the screenplay for The Substance or whatever like that. But you just see it basically where it's like the best screenwriters are the best directors, you know, which is so beautiful to me and I like it because like if you can have the details in the screenplay to write it, then you can have the details with the visuals to actually create it. That's a beautiful thing in itself. But anyways, so I guess maybe I want to see David Benioff direct. I think he has directed some stuff too because he had a big Netflix deal for like $200 million, whatever it is. But anyways, the screenplay itself is just really technical. It's really like we're doing this scene, then we're doing this scene, then we're doing this scene. I feel like it gives the proper amount of time to the characters, basically. Even though I feel like some characters could have been eliminated, I feel like the characters that are in the screenplay, it gives enough time to it. It gives enough showcase where it says like, you can do this, you can do this, you can do this, you're gonna go here. Like they have the time for Ajax's character, and it's enough. It's not too much, it's not too little. They have enough time for Hector, and they describe him perfectly as this intelligent character loyal to the Trojans of his father, basically. You know, you have Odysseus there, you have Achilles there, you have all these angles that kind of, it collapses in the right way. Like there's a lot of proper like petering, like you're going from this to this to this, and I really like how like the transition from one scene to another goes, and I like how all the sub arcs of the characters have kind of a place and a home to do whatever they want to do. You know, it's like it's not like it's not too conservative of a screenplay, but it's also just not too like pigeonholed or just it's not too constrained, you know. It's like everyone kind of gets their room to express themselves, and like it's a perfect screenplay for the actors to get their showcase, to really show what they got. Because I think so many writers, people who write screenplays or movies, and you just tell by watching the movie, by listening to the dialogue, that's the screenplay, they focus too much on a bunch of nonsense, bro. I'm like, write the thing that matters, you know, and it's about the actors. Like, your screenplay is a screenplay. It's the blueprint, you know. An architectural blueprint is exactly what the building's going to be, right? But when it comes to, it's a one-to-one. But when it comes to a screenplay, it's just a guideline, you know? You want it the best screenplay you possibly can, but you want enough breath, you want enough space and air, you know, and around it, so that when it's adapted, you can have all these different collaborators, hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands of individual human people with souls, mind, brains, hearts, to add their own aspect to it, add their own 2 cents, to add their own pieces to it, to create this masterful thing. And I think a lot of screenplays are either they're really cheesy, or there's not enough space for the actors to do what they want to do. There's not enough space for the director to kind of shape his image of the movie. There's not enough space for the art department, the gaffers, whatever it is, the cinematographers, to really have their own take on the story and add their own perspective to it. And I think just the way that David Benioff does this screenplay is just like, you have a chance to kind of like extend the scene or shorten the scene. You have a chance to really act in the kind of way that you kind of act, because the next scene is going to give the next person a showcase, and it's going to be a good transition. It's not like you're not staying in this scene forever and then it's the other scene and it feels like mashed together, or it feels like it's going on for too long. Basically, it just feels like there's ample time for everyone to kind of get their moments and opportunities to display. You get to, you have this, your face. A lot of movies are about the face. We're seeing emotions. It's about emotional intelligence and people conveying how they feel and the story that's going on. It's like you have to have that in the screenplay, but like understand that it's not a hard and fast stamped architectural plan. It's similar to an architectural plan, but it's a guideline. It's a strong guideline and just like a model for what you want to create, And again, I just feel like David Benioff, he knows how to do the scene transitions. He knows how to give the characters time. It's very technical, and I like very technical and sophisticated things, basically, because it makes my brain happy, because that I'm a very sophisticated and technical person. I like the complexities and the intricacies of things, basically, and that's my writing style and my interest, basically, and I've learned from other people to have a quick and dirty elegance, to have a more more wider perspective and more appreciative generosity to even arcs or plots, ideas that I wouldn't think is necessarily interesting, like modern horror movies now, it's like, they're all liberals. It's like, where's the Republican with a gun? If it's a horror movie and there's not a Republican with a gun, I find it not believable. You can find a way to get rid of the gun, it falls in the lake or whatever like that. But to me, it's always annoying. It's just like, where are all the Republicans at? I'm like, I understand that Hollywood's liberal and that like a lot of your tradespeople are conservatives and things like that, and there's like a lot of libertarians, conservative in the military, and like the arts normally have liberals, the like blue collar normally have Republicans, the white collar is kind of a mix. I get it, but it's like, we have to work together. There has to be some reasonable fairness in the world and things like that, and people need to stop being so hostile and understand, like, if you're bad and evil, then you go to jail. If you're decent and good and you're producing to society, like, and you're not doing anything malicious or bad or being mean to people, leave them alone, but also let's, interact and have these things in our story to be more authentic, more real feeling at the very least, basically. It's like, why aren't there like any Republicans with guns basically in these horror movies? They're like, hey, Freddy Krueger or Jason, I'm just gonna shoot you with my 9mm pistol, Like, it doesn't have to go that way. Obviously, you can get rid of it, but it's just like, that's a problem. Like, I just feel like just be authentic, just be real, have some more, like real life scenarios that it feels like not like cartoony. And I feel like a lot of movies and screenplays and just things like books, not maybe, but just movies specifically are kind of dead because the writing is just so cheap, so corny, so sell out to corporate and formulaic. It's like, let's get some like, I don't know, just some like broader perspectives and horizons, and be open-minded even when we add characters and things like that. And let's not keep trotting on old, tried and true like ways of to make bad movies and to do things that like don't really have, I don't know, interesting like things, basically. But anyway, Dave Benioff, like he does it right, because he just gives everyone enough time, enough space, and he just keeps focusing on the main characters. And I just like, it's a lot of paragraphs in this thing, and it's really long, but I just feel like it's very cohesive, it's very connected, it's very intelligent, and I just like the scenes. It's so, and I love the dialogue, the language, the words, the ideas. Like, he really immersed himself in this, and I think he did like 30 or 34 different drafts or whatever like that. I'm not a multi-draft person. Like, I write it once basically, and I do a boatload of spell checks, and then I write it 2-3 more times. But nowadays I don't do multiple drafts. I'd rather spend more time like thinking about the world that I'm writing. Like, I'll go out, walk around the city, think about it, than actually writing it. It's like in for sports, because I'm a sports guy. In sports, it's called like something imagery. Basically, it's where you imagine like shooting the ball just as much as time as you're practicing. So you get that like the mental imagery of practicing the sport and doing it. And I think both of those things are important. I feel like my personal philosophy and approach is that you don't need to spend all the time writing. Sometimes you just have to like imagine yourself walking around the world before you actually enter it. Because I feel like doing a lot of drafts is kind of like it's totally a waste of time. You're spending all this time like rewriting for different ideas where you could just thought about the ideas. You could have took the time to think about the ideas without writing and then came in with a fresh approach. That's my philosophy, that's my approach. But anyways, yeah, I think just David Benioff's like, it's clear, it's concise, it's fun, you know, and the language, the world is just very exhilarating. And I love the action scenes. They're woven so tight. They're just so interesting. And I just like rereading it over and over again because it's just excellent. It's a marvel to me because I'm a screenplay nerd, basically. But it's just like, I don't know, like, and he always has these 3 or 4 paragraphs that are like, boom, 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 boom. But they all coincide. It's like, this is an idea, but also an expression. This is an idea. This is also expression. This is an idea. This is also an expression. This is an idea, and it's also expression. I just feel like it's just so well done. Shout out to David Benioff. I'm not surprised, and I read the first pilot for Game of Thrones, and I was, this is amazing. Like he has an appreciation. He's like a steward and a history nerd, and even if it's not real, basically. I remember him talking about saying that Game of Thrones to him is the Bible, and he just has that devotion to the mythology. And that right there is what I love so much about David Benioff's screenplay, Troy. It's like he has this devotion, this really beautiful and strong devotion to the mythology, and he's articulating it in the best way he can, and it's coming out technical. It's coming out very accurate, very, this is exactly what I mean, you know, but there's poeticness to it. There's a rhythm that gives you space to think and wonder and be amazed at not just the characters, not just the plot, but also the environment, the background, the wall of Troy, the sandy desert and things like that, the beach, the ships, all that things like that. I think it's so beautiful, so well done. A master of his craft. David Benioff is one of my favorite screenwriters, definitely. Because it's so good. It's so good. And I want to have a million favorite screenwriters, you know, and I want that world to be like that. Obviously, I love books, television. I love media, manga, comics. Deserve all the credit, and they're doing things like that. And all the arts, music is fantastic in itself, without question, you know. But me as a screenplay nerd and movie nerd, like David Benioff, this screenplay it's so fantastic. It makes me so happy, you know, and it's consistent. I think a lot of screenplays I've read sometimes just fall short because they don't understand that, like, it's make-believe. You know, this is not real. You know, have fun. I remember shout out my wrestling teacher for professional wrestling, like WWE, AEW, all that type of stuff when I was a pro wrestler on the independent circuit before my disability of stiff person syndrome kicked in. It was like, psych, you can't ever wrestle again because you're in pain all the time. It was like, we're men in tights, you know. That's what Tate told me. And I think all the time a lot where, like, a lot of movies don't have the spectacle and they don't have the fun of that. This is silly. This is just make believe. Let's have fun, you know? And I think some of the best things I consume, even if it's like Schindler's List or The Godfather, which is like super serious, you know, and things like that. I think you as a filmmaker should still have fun, and I think the audience should still find some enjoyment, even if it's not that, like, even if it's like a serious movie, I should have fun that it's a serious movie. There should still be light and still be a heartiness and still be of humor and enjoyment, even though it's serious. You know, it can't be like so black, dark, and grimy like that you're just not having fun, because I think that's one thing about Zack Snyder. People are like, it's too dark, it's too serious all the time. There's not really like humor and fun, you know. Obviously, I love Zack Snyder, basically, but that's a fair criticism, and I think it's true, basically. But sometimes it's too darn down in the depths. It's too dark and gritty. He's like, okay, I should have some, like, even if it's I want hope at the very least, or I want optimism in some regard, in some aspect, and sprinkled throughout the scenes or the movie, basically. It can't always be like, this is doom and gloom, it's the end of the world, all black, all negative, all bad, you know? I want a little bit of good. I want some good sprinkled out. I want some hope or optimism, you know? Or even if it's like more of an informative in a documentary style, you know? It's like, leave it a little bit ambiguous, you know? That's something Christopher Nolan talks about his brother teaching him, basically. It's just about just leaving it a bit ambiguous sometimes, you know, or just sprinkling it. It doesn't have to be like one thing or the other. Just give a little bit of light in space and breath and humor, you know, in everything that you do. And it just makes it more enjoyable. Even if it is serious, you can walk away knowing, like, and I feel like a lot of people get the picture, you know. It's like, don't beat somebody on the head with it and be like, you get the point. You know, it's like, okay, I got it, okay? I'm enjoying the movie, you know, but the whole thing doesn't have to be super serious or super funny or super whatever it is, you know. You can add a mix, you know, and just sprinkle out like just a bit more humor and just funness, basically, however you want to do that, even if it's serious or super happy or whatever it is. You know, I don't know, because I think that's part of life. That's my thing. I think that life is like that, you know, that even in the darkest days, like, or bad times, like every day you can have that mentality of every day is the greatest day ever, because that's my personal mentality. But I'm saying you can have that in a lot of good movies, even if it's just like, this is depressing, a realistic story of just like the worst thing that ever happened in the world, you know, you can still have that like positivity, I guess, of mindset and just feel, even though it's negative, you know, and you know that you have to help change, or just, you know, like that this is a true thing that happened or whatever like that. You're not like locked into something, you're not locked into feeling a type of way, and you can understand something and have that intelligence, but not like be treated like you're not really not knowledgeable on things, or you don't have that brain capacity to like process things, you know. You want that like respect that like I understand, you know, like, and I feel like like especially nowadays movies are not like, they're like, do you get it, you know, and like on TV it's like second screen stuff. It's like, okay, I got it, you know, give me a little bit of something else, you know. It's like, just not the whole time, but just, you know, it doesn't have to be all one thing, and balance is good. But also like having a good idea of your vision and bringing that out is good. But anyways, David Benioff, his devotion to the mythology leaves me in awe, and I really want to recreate his strength in my own work, as well as Diablo Cody from Juno, the guy who wrote Whiplash, Casablanca, obviously, by those three writers. Yeah, just, I love being a student in the game. I really enjoy that, and also someone who can kind of create. But I love being a nerd for screenwriting, and I just like, I wanted to do this for a while, but my coworker and allied acquaintance recommended that I do that, and I was like, man, I finally gotta do a review for a screenplay, because I love screenplays, and this is without question one of my favorite screenplays. David Benioff, man. Amazing! Anyways, all right, thank you. You do not have to read the screenplay for Troy. You can watch the movie. Yeah, David Benioff is, I don't know, this is just an appreciation video. It's like, you're really good at what you do if you ever watch this. I'm a fan. I appreciate it. Thank you for contributing to the arts. You know, anyways, yeah.